Welcome to this story. Listening to stories in English is one of the best ways to improve your language skills. It helps you get used to natural pronunciation, expand your vocabulary, and understand sentence structures in a fun and engaging way. Even if you're learning English on your own, listening regularly will boost your confidence and make speaking feel more natural. In this story, you'll not only enjoy an interesting tale, but also practice your listening skills without pressure. So, sit back, relax, and let yourself get lost in the world of English storytelling. How I became a millionaire in 5 years? 5 years ago, I was stuck in a cycle I couldn't seem to break. I had a decent job, a small apartment, and a daily routine that felt predictable, safe, and somewhat unsatisfying. I wasn't unhappy, but I was far from excited about the future. I was living in a city I didn't love, working in a job that didn't inspire me, and honestly, I felt like I had more potential than I was tapping into. Deep down, I knew I was capable of achieving more. I just didn't know how or where to start. In many ways, I felt like I was watching life pass me by. I looked around at people who had reached success, who were financially free, traveling the world, and pursuing their passions. I knew that I didn't need to be born into wealth to achieve financial independence, but it seemed like an impossible feat. I wondered if I had missed the boat, or if I was destined to remain in the same cycle for the rest of my life. It was during one of those rare, quiet moments, away from the distractions of everyday life, that I had a breakthrough. I realized that no one was going to change my life for me. If I wanted to escape the status quo, I would have to take action myself. I needed to stop talking about wanting a better life and start doing something about it. That day, I made a life-altering decision. I committed to becoming a millionaire in 5 years. It wasn't a decision made lightly, but it was a decision made with an unwavering belief that it was possible. I knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but I also knew it was possible to turn things around, if I was willing to put in the work and learn the right strategies. Step 1. Shifting my mindset. The first and most important change I had to make was shifting my mindset. I realized that wealth is not just about having money, it's about the way you think. I had to let go of the limiting beliefs that had been instilled in me over the years, such as, money doesn't grow on trees, and you have to work hard to earn money. I had been conditioned to believe that financial success was out of reach, unless you were born into it or had some special secret. But as I started to learn more about the habits of successful people, I realized that wealth is as much a mindset as it is a skill. I dove into books that focused on personal finance, entrepreneurship, and wealth building. Some of the first books I read were Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley, and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. These books opened my eyes to the fact that wealth isn't reserved for a select few. It can be built by anyone who is willing to learn, take risks, and make smart decisions. The most important takeaway from these books was that financial success is not a result of luck, but a consequence of decisions and actions. I realized that if I wanted to become a millionaire, I needed to start making decisions like a millionaire. This meant taking risks, being comfortable with uncertainty, and focusing on long-term goals rather than short-term comfort. I also began to embrace the idea that failure was not something to fear, but rather an opportunity to learn and grow. This was a huge shift for me because for much of my life, I had been afraid of failure. The fear of failing had kept me stuck in the same place, not willing to take risks. But as I continued reading and learning from others, I came to understand that the path to success is often paved with failures, and each failure is just a lesson on the way to achieving your goals. Art, Step 2. Educating myself and taking action. The next step in my journey was education. I knew that becoming a millionaire in 5 years wasn't going to happen by accident, so I committed myself to learning everything I could about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and business. I subscribed to blogs, watched YouTube videos, and attended webinars on topics like investing, business growth, and building wealth. The more I learned, the more I realized that I had been living in a bubble, unaware of all the opportunities available to me. I had been focused on my day-to-day job, never thinking about how I could make my money work for me. I started to see that financial independence wasn't just about earning more. It was about making smart investments, managing money effectively, and leveraging my skills to create multiple streams of income. I took a deep dive into the world of investing. I learned about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, and alternative investments like cryptocurrency and startups. The first thing I did was start small, investing in index funds and ETFs, exchange-traded funds, to get a feel for the market. I didn't want to risk too much too soon, but I wanted to start building a foundation for long-term wealth. Simultaneously, I started thinking about ways to generate income outside of my day job. I had a strong desire to create a business, but I didn't know exactly what kind of business to start. After a lot of trial and error, I decided to venture into e-commerce. I had no prior experience, but I believed that with enough time and effort, I could make it work. Step 3. Starting the business. I decided to start a small online store, selling a niche product that I felt had potential. I chose a product that was affordable to source, but had a large enough market to generate sales. It wasn't a glamorous decision, but I knew that starting small and building my way up was the key to success. The beginning was rough. I had no idea what I was doing. I spent hours watching YouTube tutorials on how to create a website, how to use social media for marketing, and how to run ads effectively. I remember the overwhelming feeling of being a complete beginner. There was so much to learn, and the road ahead seemed daunting, but I was determined to stick with it. The first few months were tough. I didn't see much revenue coming in, and there were many times I questioned whether I had made the right decision. I made countless mistakes. My website wasn't optimized for conversions, my product descriptions were weak, and my marketing efforts were all over the place. But each failure was a learning experience. I improved my website, refined my product descriptions, and started experimenting with different ad strategies. Slowly, I began to see results. By the end of my first year, I had made a modest profit, and I had learned a lot about running an online business. It wasn't where I wanted to be yet, but I was making progress. I reinvested every dollar I earned back into the business to fuel growth. I also started building an email list and learning how to nurture customer relationships, which proved to be one of the most valuable strategies for long-term success. Step 4. Scaling the business. In the second year, I focused on scaling. I had reached a point where the business was generating enough revenue to justify putting more time and effort into it. I started outsourcing tasks to free up my time and focus on the areas that would drive the most growth. I hired freelancers for tasks like graphic design, copywriting, and customer service. I also worked on improving my marketing strategy. I learned how to target the right audience using Facebook and Google Ads, and I started experimenting with influencer marketing. I spent time researching successful e-commerce businesses and looking for ways I could differentiate myself in the market. I learned that building a strong brand was just as important as the product itself. One of the most significant breakthroughs came when I started focusing on customer retention. I realized that it was much cheaper to retain a customer than to acquire a new one. I worked on creating an exceptional customer experience, offering personalized service, fast shipping, and a hassle-free return policy. This resulted in an increase in repeat customers and positive reviews, which in turn boosted my sales. As the second year came to a close, I had reached a point where the business was earning a consistent income. I was still working full-time at my day job, but I could see that if I continued on this path, I could soon make the transition to running my business full-time. Step 5. Transitioning to full-time entrepreneurship. By the third year, my business was thriving. I had finally reached a point where I could comfortably leave my 9-to-5 job and focus on my business full-time. It was a terrifying decision, but I knew that the only way to scale to the next level was to give my full attention to the business. With my newfound freedom, I was able to focus on refining my business, launching new products, and exploring new marketing strategies. I also started investing more heavily in other ventures, including real estate and stocks. I had learned that building wealth wasn't just about running a business. It was about creating multiple income streams. During this time, I also began exploring real estate. I had saved enough money from my business profits to purchase my first rental property. The cash flow from this property helped to diversify my income, and I began to see the power of passive income. I reinvested the profits into more properties, slowly building a small portfolio. Step 6. Reaching the $1 million mark. By the fourth year, everything had come together. My business was generating multiple six figures in revenue, and my real estate investments were bringing in steady cash flow. I had successfully diversified my income streams, and I was making money from multiple sources. The key to my success was realizing that wealth building is not just about focusing on one thing. It's about making smart, strategic decisions and leveraging your resources. I continued reinvesting my profits into my business and investments, always looking for ways to grow and scale. By the fifth year, my net worth exceeded $1 million. I had achieved what I had set out to do, become a millionaire in 5 years. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight, but with persistence, hard work, and the right strategies, I had achieved financial freedom. Reflecting on the journey. Looking back, I realized that the most important factor in my success was persistence. There were countless moments when I felt like giving up, but I learned that success is not about avoiding failure. It's about embracing it and learning from it. Every setback was an opportunity to improve, and every failure brought me one step closer to my goal. The journey didn't end when I reached $1 million. In fact, it was just the beginning. With the right mindset, strategies, and persistence, I continue to grow my wealth, diversify my income, and explore new opportunities. Becoming a millionaire wasn't just about achieving financial freedom. It was about creating a life I could be proud of, a life where I'm in control of my future, and where I have the freedom to live on my own terms. And now, I know that anything is possible if you're willing to work for it.